plans. So, where are we? So, from last stream, we implemented the material properties, and between yesterday and today, I was really pushing, and let's see what the situation is right now. So, first of all, we have a nice sky with the sun, which is something we didn't have. This is something very similar to what I did for Assetto Corsa at the beginning. Very, very similar code. So it's a procedural generation of this Skybox. Right. And then let's see what's new. Something very, very exciting. We finally have a boat. We're finally really talking about sailing. Here we go. Finally. Now this model still far from being what can be really used in a video game. It's got 178,000 triangles, which is a little bit too much for what we want to do and for the level of details that it actually has. So, yeah, Chucks will have to improve. She hasn't been doing 3D for years now, and she's getting familiar with Maya again. But considering this is around 1 week of work, it is not bad, and it's super cool because we can start to have an idea of what playing this game could look like. This could be the position from which we drive the boat. Right now there is this net which is supposed to be transparent, and it's not transparent, and is part of the plan for today to implement the alpha testing, alpha to coverage for this net, so we can see better what the other side of the catamaran is. So this could be what this looked like to play. So the idea is, to be in this position. One thing that I'm a little bit sad is that coming from a sim racing experience, you would imagine that you will be driving in a sort of this position, right, with the steering wheel in front of you. But when I was checking the picture of boats similar to this, actually the Helmsman, I also have to get into the right terminology for sailing. The Helmsman is actually driving with his ass on this part of the boat. So it's definitely higher, his point of view, somewhere here. I think it will be very unlikely that we will be able to see the helm, which is really a shame, because I like the visual feedback of the helm moving as you're driving. It's entirely possible that I could decide to just cheat and say whatever, I don't care, and move this helm higher. So when we sit here, in a position that is a reasonable position, realistic position, we still see some of the helm a little bit like this. What is going to be really interesting in this situation is that as we're driving this boat, this side of the boat, if we're driving there, it means that this side of the boat is going to be almost like in the air, and this side of the boat will be foiling on the water. So the Helmsman will really be concerned about what this side of the boat is doing. So that's why the plane position is probably not going to be just looking forward like this, right? Because we really don't care what this side of the boat is doing. We really care what that part of the boat is doing. And as I develop this, it will start to become more clear how these boats work, and they don't just sit in the water, but they fly over the water. They race up over the water using these foils. And part of the game is not just steering the boat left and right, but is also to make sure controlling the foils so that the boat is riding high enough in the water, but it's not losing the contact with the water, because if you lose the contact in the water, the boat will basically nosedive straight into the water, come to a stop, and it's also quite dangerous for the sailors when something like this happens. So I would imagine that this is really how it's going to look like when playing this. So the steering left and right, but checking down here to see how high the boat is riding. Interestingly enough, in this kind of boats, they start, from what I understand, they started with the Helmsman that was both driving the boat left and right with a helm, and also it had these things that act a little bit like motorbike handles, where it was controlling the foils up and down. So it was both steering and flying the boat up and down. From what I understand, what is happening right now is that they have another guy that is flying the boat. So you have the helmsman taking care of going left and right and making all the strategic calls of where to go with the boat, and the other guy actually flying the boat. So this is pretty exciting. What else is new in the editor in this couple of days? So we stopped the stream Monday. We had a mesh list, so we can see here all the meshes that make this object, and the material list. Now we have an outline of the hierarchy of the entire thing. Tirolato is asking multiple crews. Yes, it's entirely possible that it opens the door to have multiple crew, because in theory you have one guy steering, one guy flying, and one guy taking care of these wings, and we will talk why these are wings. So what I was saying is that right now I have this outline, and in this orange square bracket are the meshes, and the ones with black are the hierarchies of the bones. And just to make sure that everything works, I just created this couple of buttons to test stuff, so I can get this mainsail and rotate it, and it works. Just test. I can select which object I want to rotate and test. This is not really a function that the editor will have. This is interesting. This sail is not really a sail. Is they call it wing because that's actually what it is. It's a rigid structure that the driver can the crew can actually influence the inclination of this, so they can create camber into the wing. From what I understand, there is should be possible to save presets of your wing configuration, but I'm not really sure about this. We can see here, once the wing is rotated, the alignment of this wing goes a little bit out of the window. But yeah, it's all work in progress. And what else? Something else I can do now, I can select the mesh. If I select the mesh, automatically it selects the material. We get the properties, and the cool thing is that we also get the possibility to change the texture. So I can open this, select the texture, and back. Right, so that's what the material editor is basically doing, is doing this stuff, and the idea is that this will be saved to a file that then the game will be able to read fast without relying on FBX, which tend to be quite slow to load. So yeah, things are moving at the pace that I was expecting, to be honest. I was expecting a couple of weeks before actually being able to start to work on the actual game instead of just working on engine, refactoring, and editor. So we're pretty much on schedule. So I think next Monday I'm going to start the actual game project with Rust, and from that point, of course, there will still be lots of work to be done on the editor, but all the work will be driven from what I need to be done in the game at that stage. So it's not going to be just let's make the engine to make the engine. So let's see what's so the first target for today is to get the that net transparent, the editor part. I can force it to be alpha to coverage, right? Yeah, there you go. So we have the net that is transparent now. Not really a great transparency, but you know, pretty difficult. Anyway, this is working, but right now is forcing alpha coverage to the entire thing. When we load the file, which is not, of course, what we. Okay, it goes like this, which is good. So the point now is that we want to be able to change this, right? So net alpha tested, bang, and it works. And this is done. Editor lighting settings. Okay, so what's the idea here? The idea is that we want to be able from the editor to move the sun. That's possibly change the colors of the sky. Right, so this should start, okay, and now we get all the colors that we are actually using, which is good. The difficult part is going to be this, but you know, we can make it. So let's see straight away if horizon color changes. There you go. Perfect. Oh, holy shit. That's so weird. I will need a little bit of math. Or I could, instead of go crazy with the math here, I could do it in Rust. I could do it in Rust, and I think it's much better for me to do it in Rust than try to rewrite the math in C#. Okay, so let's see if it works. Sun is gone. Yep. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. And rotates this way. Awesome. Awesome. sadly, until we have shadows. Of course, you know, this to be really dramatic, these effects, we need a couple of things. We need shadows to see this change. And of course, we also need the colors of the horizon and the sky to change automatically as the sun goes down. So as the sun goes down, they turn to reds. But we will get there. All right, so I think we're happy for today. So we can close it here. Next stream is going to be next Friday morning at 10 o'clock in the morning. And it's hopefully going to be the last stream on engine development. Next Monday, we should hopefully start to work on the actual game. Thank you everybody for sticking with me for this couple of hours, and I will see you next time. Ciao.